Hello everybody!
Welcome everybody to another video of Vinyl Addict. This is Chili.
And this is Kent.
Okay, we just seen the new Metallica video, Lux Eterna. And before we get into this, please don't forget to hit the like button, comment on this video, share this video. If you still haven't, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell for updates. So with that out of the way, what are your thoughts on this?
So, it was fast-paced. Knowing Metallica, I knew there was going to be a solo in there. Everything was fairly predictable. Metallica sounded like Metallica, but
Nothing
I don't know.
new.
It was nothing new. It was. I think my initial thoughts were that it was fast, but yet boring. The only part I actually enjoyed was the very ending because there was like a little breakdown in a way that I thought was kind of cool, right? And it all unraveled, right? It wasn't put together. Everything seemed very polished and just like a repetition of the lyrics, a repetition of the instrumentals. But at the very end, when it all unraveled, if they would have had more of the unraveling throughout the entire song, and then they came together, more of the unraveling, that's what I really liked when it, like Master of Puppets and stuff. It had little breaks and then unravels, and I know that, well, you just said that it sounded like the same. Maybe you don't want more the sound of the same. You know what? If you're going to sound the same, at least make it sound good, I guess.
Yeah, I think they were trying to hit on like their first album, Kill 'Em All stuff, and I mean, this is 7 years in the meantime, in between this and Hardwire. Nothing. I mean, everyone. I know there's videos out here, just like they're just fucking worshiping this thing, and just as if, I think it's because there hasn't been anything in a while, but still, once you sit back and listen to it, it's just there's nothing to it. I mean, for one thing, the drums, there's a lot of talk about the drums that it's not him playing it. For one thing, it's a ghost drummer, right? And just by going back in, you could go on YouTube and look at all the Lars fails videos and everything like that, and people are also dissecting this, saying, okay, there's some studio work that's done on here to make it sound like this, and you know, it just doesn't sound like Lars, for one thing. He doesn't hit, playing that overkill, Motorhead drum beat, and then bringing it back at the end, doing the same thing as Motorhead did. I mean, yes, I think they're trying to pay homage to that, I guess, but you need someone who could actually play that part really well, and Lars is not capable of doing that just by watching all the old videos of how he is live and everything else like that. And okay, so that is another issue of it, but the song itself, yeah, it's just a lot of repetition.
It was a radio song.
It
sounded like one of those things that you have playing in the background. And you're like, well, what kind of genre do you like? Oh, we'll just turn to a radio station. Something metal is playing, and you don't feel any way about it. It just okay.
Like,
there's the drums. There's the guitar. There's the aggressive vocals, but it just feels kind of just empty, right?
And these guys are supposed to be like the titans of this genre, and they're not taking it anywhere. It's time to just
it's sort of like you just show up and it's like, hey, you already know what I've done in the past. And, it's sort of, I'm here now, so I deserve some claps. And I'll say this too. When it comes to metal music, I'm not super duper well versed. And maybe I'm not the best person to have an opinion on metal, but I do like all forms of rock music, and I'll listen to something that I feel like entices me.
You have a Death album. You have some Slipknot.
I do. No. I guess I compare my metal knowledge to my punk knowledge, and I feel like my metal knowledge is just like a baby in comparison. But what I do like of metal, right? This doesn't stand on a foot compared to the music.
Especially, I mean, I guess when you get to their level, your only competition would be your past. And if you're trying to redo your past, like what they're trying to do, why? Because the past is always going to beat what you're trying to do. And you got to go somewhere else. I mean, there are videos right now where people are going, oh, the only ones who are going to hate this are those old school Metallica guys who, after after the Black Album, they don't like anything else. I'm like, no, I didn't like the Black Album for one thing.
Well, I will say this. So
I did like Load.
So the Black Album, right? So I'm obviously like I'm fairly young. So
You
my
got
first
the Black Album.
my first introduction to Metallica was like, okay, Enter Sandman. As a kid, I loved that song, right? That was an amazing song, and I got shown more Metallica stuff that I thought was actually better. But this, if I was listening to this, I can't go into a time machine, but I don't feel like this song was like a song off of the Black Album, which just would want to pull me into the rest of the Metallica catalog. Like I said, this just felt like another generic type of song that I wouldn't want to dig deeper because it didn't tug anything. It didn't feel like it was passionate. It didn't feel like it was mean or aggressive. And I think when it comes to certain types of music, when I think of Metallica, if you're going to be playing fast, I want you to play loud. I want you to be singing about something that actually gets me thinking. This just felt like, just background noise. So.
Yeah, it is sort of just kind of like an elevator kind of background shopping noise.
You're in the bathroom at at a bar that's kind of like a dive bar. It's just like some random. I mean, you know what? I think you would hear better music in a dive bar bathroom than this song.
Yeah, and the guitar solo was okay. Well, yeah, it was nothing special. At least he wasn't using his wah-wah pedal, for Christ's sake. I'm glad he didn't put that in here, because that's all he does. A good video of Kirk Hammett is watching his reaction video to him watching the Megadeth video.
Well, the thing is,
that's more exciting.
And I don't think they're completely tapped out, and I have my own preferences and all. But the very ending of that song, like I said, if they took the very ending where it was all unraveling and they just
took it somewhere else.
They took it somewhere else, and I think they really had something with that ending. But then it's sort of like you watch a movie, right? And the movie's terrible, but the very ending, you're like, oh man, that was a cool ending. That's the only merit I kind of felt with this song, because it got me thinking which direction is it going to go. But when you're listening to it, when you're about a minute, like minute and a half in, it's kind of like, okay, I don't think we're going any. When you listen to a song and you're like, oh, where's it going to go next? Like what?
They never have any songs like that.
Yeah.
They never. I mean, that's why watching that video of Kirk watching the Megadeth video, We'll Be Back, from the last album, it changes. It goes through all these different kinds of things, and he's just like, wow, right? And I wasn't like that with this. It was just more of the last album. It sort of just picked up from the last album. It's like, and this is what you guys come up with after so long. You know what I mean? And I know there's people that drank the Kool-Aid long ago, and they could never get out of the spell they're in about Metallica. They could do no wrong.
You know what? I'm going to go off on a tangent here, but I know there's plenty of young guys that are making great music that's underground, that when you look at YouTube, right, that maybe they have less than 20,000 views on their songs, that make amazing music. And it's like, since Metallica, so I always wonder that about big bands, and I guess this is a topic for another day. But big bands, why play it safe when you already have so much money? You have already, I don't know if maybe you're scared to lose your fans. Maybe you might think, oh, I have this beautiful car. I don't want to tarnish it. So instead of, you look at like beautiful rent, like, so this car, there's beautiful car here, right? So instead of adding anything to this car, because they don't want to ruin it, it's kind of like, we'll just put an air freshener in there. So it's like, something changed, but not really.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, maybe they ran out of ideas. They're trying to recycle ideas and just kind of mix it up. But, when people hear this stuff, there was a quick rejoice when people heard, I'll include myself on this, when Death Magnetic came out. It was sort of like, oh, okay, they're back. Rick Rubin came in there, did some work with them, because no one liked the Saint Anger thing. I kind of liked it because Kirk wasn't on it. But that's another video, though. But the Death Magnetic was kind of like, okay, we're going back to Metallica, and now they just kind of keep going back to their old catalog. Okay, let's redo Hit the Lights, and that's what this is. Let's redo Hit the Lights, and by Kill 'Em All, and then I'm like, that's when I kind of get.
And you're always gonna have people that you don't like what you do, right? So like the Black Album, again, I know a lot of people didn't like that, right? But then they had some like slower songs that were on there that got people like me interested, because the whole real fast stuff, and I was like a little kid, like Master of Puppets, I think if I would have listened to when I was younger as an introduction, would have been way too much for me, right? But that Black Album was perfect. It was different, right?
It was
I think that people should always. You can still make another album, but tell it's from the same band, right? That's not what happened.
But what you were talking about, though, like, since they got all this money, why not, push the envelope and fuck your fans and do what you want to do? And they used to be like that. Mm-hmm. That's why I did like Load. I had a lot of respect for them on that. They were trying different things, and, Kirk even played a slide guitar solo on Ain't My Bitch, and there were some songs like The House That Jack Built. Great songs, in different direction, different path. They didn't care. Now, yeah, they are kind of just, it's another song that's not like really has any imagination to it. It's just like, okay, let's just have some quick edits on this video. I can honestly say that their album covers are really good. You know what I mean? The new album cover is pretty interesting. You know what I mean? But that's it. This has seemed like an extended TikTok video. It was just really fast, really quick edits, and what was that about? It was like, it was nothing that really grabbed me, like, I want to hear it again. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. They had nothing, it didn't, yeah. You know what I mean?
Do you ever get frustrated, right? So we're talking about Metallica, and I think when it comes to a lot of these like reviews and stuff, when we're talking about rock or metal, right? It's like these bands were huge like in the 80s, and like it does there's not really, I don't know. It just seems kind of weird that here we are talking about a Metallica album, and that's what's huge in the community, and I don't even feel like it deserves that amount of focus for us even to be having this conversation about it.
Yeah.
I guess that's why there needs to be a conversation, because I feel.
Well, I mean, I feel like everyone is just like gonna kiss their ass and just say it's great, when it's like it's nothing special. It really isn't anything special. I mean, like, I guess they started working on this on 2020 during the pandemic and everything and the lockdowns, and I just hear a lot of albums that, when bands have been around and as long as they have, and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to put this album out, blah, 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 and you wait for it, and it's just like, wow, it's like, this is what they've been doing. There was nothing with this. This is just like the other, and it's produced by the same guy. Well, Lars and James and Greg Fiddleman, who did the S&M 2. He did also the Lulu album, which I thought was cool. That was with Lou Reed, because it was a Lou Reed album. At least they were doing something different, and and not caring about their fans, and the fans talk shit about that. But you know what? That's what I mean. It's like I feel like they are the best if they're in their I don't give a fuck kind of attitude.
It kind of seems like, God forbid, there's a tragedy, right? But you sometimes kind of wonder, like, if there was something that would motivate or like give them a lot of like passion to, like, maybe it's like a death or something very hard. Like, hard times, I think, create great music, and that's what's so hard about it. Even like, I already said I like punk rock, right? So first great album, maybe you have a second great album, but usually success brings upon, I guess, a level of laziness, and I guess that's how I feel about the song.
Well, I mean, you can't. I mean, maybe on their level. I mean, there's bands that have been around as long as they have, like Megadeth and when Slayer were still around. But they are still putting out things that are just like, wow. It's like they still got some shit to do. These guys. I mean, would it matter if this came out or not? It didn't really. I don't think it's gonna. It's just. I think it's good. It's an excuse to go.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell. We were not talking to them, so it's hard to tell where their head is at. We don't know them like personally and stuff, but we can just tell based off of this song, objectively speaking,
It's a campaign song. It's Let's Go on Tour. Here's a new song.
It's very forgettable. Like, and I have nothing against Metallica. Like, I love a lot of, like, I have certain songs of Metallica I'll play on like a regular basis, or certain albums. But this just wouldn't be something I'd add on a playlist.
Right. I grew up with Metallica. I mean, I've seen them a few times in concert. You know. I mean, that's why. I mean, I'm not that guy who says, "Oh, after the Black Album, I didn't listen to anything." No, I did. I liked the Load album. I thought that was good. I thought Reload was like, okay, you kind of overstayed your welcome with that, but you know what I mean. So within their catalog, it's, you know, there's some hit and misses in it. They haven't been like perfect albums, like, you know, before Justice, you know, but you know, because some of the great members that they had has gone. And so they had to work with what they had, and they didn't have a Mustaine, they didn't have a Cliff Burton anymore. So what's going to happen? At least with Load, they went and did something original, you know. And even to the point, Saint Anger. This is just like, okay, it's Metallica.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's just like, it's Metallica.
Yeah. And to me, it was nothing special. It's not like, oh, I can't wait for the album and this and that. It didn't even give me that kind of, it didn't even give me the kind of like, play that again, that fucking rocked, whatever. It was just.
Well, and there's thongs, huh? I don't know where my head's at. So there's songs that you'll go back to, and it'll stand the test of time. So when I'm hearing this song, and I'm thinking about this song, there are songs where you listen to them for the first time, and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna remember where I'm at, or you like 10 years from now, you'll remember where you were at when you first heard it, right? I know it's very difficult to try to, like, you're gonna put this in comparison to that. I'm like, yeah, I think that's if you want quality, you have to compare a song like this to the best of Metallica, and that's wif we were just talking about some band, this would probably be, oh yeah, well, this is pretty good, right? I mean, at least I would. If it was just some band starting out, I thought, oh, that's a fairly alright song. That's pretty good, right? But like, when it comes to Metallica and I think of metal and what they've done, I suppose I have certain expectations, and it just definitely did not do that for me. Yeah. Didn't reach those expectations.
Yeah. So that is, you know, our thoughts on, what is this, Lux? Eterna.
Lux, I don't know. Lux Eterna. Yeah. They're deep with that one.
Yeah, they're really deep. And the light, the eternal light translation. You know, what are your thoughts on this? You know, I mean,
are we crackpots?
Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, open forum. It's like, you know, we're not right. This is just our opinion. You know, and because you know, there's a lot of videos out there that's just gonna you know, toe the line and say, you know, I know that this video is not really that video, you know, I guess, but we can't pretend that we don't like what we don't like, you know what I mean? And it's anything to do with them. You know, like I said, I was a big fan of these guys.
And I think here's the thing too, if you do like it, right, and like that's totally cool if you do, but I would have you go back when the album comes out, if you listen to everything, right? Because I mean, I haven't gone through all the songs, so I could be wrong. Every other song could be amazing, but I try to compare the albums, right? Like kind of stack rank them. So even if somebody thinks that this is like a really good song, right, or this album's really good, how does it stack up? How does it stack up? That's what I'm trying to think.
Yeah, because like Hardwire came out, and that song was just like, it was punchy. It was just like this. It was really short, and you know. Well, I'm going to see what the rest of the album was like. And it was, I guess, that, you know, you lose interest it was like an 80-minute album. It's just like, and the songs are so long, but they're not going anywhere. And it's just like, all right, it's lullaby music. It was just like, wow, you know. Yeah, and maybe this will be more of the same because it's the same people producing it. And the guy... Greg what's his name? Fiddleman. He's just like, he was just an engineer with them for a long time, and now he's got the seat of, you know, producer. So pretty much he's just going, yeah, James, it sounds good. Yeah, Lars. Yeah, okay. It sounds great. Awesome. Let's keep going. that's what we have here. And so that's okay. But that's our thoughts. Doesn't have to be yours. And with that, we'll shut up and we'll see you guys on the next video.
Later. Peace.